Hey guys, Buffing Game Bet today, bringing another video, and today we are here in Delta Force, just launched here on December 4th, late at night here on the East Coast. Gonna go through all the weapons in this game for the extraction mode and the warfare mode. So if I jump in, just go to our gunsmith here, you can preview everything and play with modifications and go bring it into the firing range in this menu in the gunsmith. So let's go through everything here in the game at launch, starting with the rifles. So first up, we have the SIG 552 series, which, again, this is a Swedish weapon. Great assault rifle here, chambered at 5.56 by 45 millimeter. You also have the AKS-74U. Here they label it AKS-74, but this is an AKS-74U. This is a Russian assault rifle, chambered at 5.45 by 39 millimeter. You have the AKM. This is Russian assault rifle, again, chambered in. You can see you have the milled, or excuse me, the milled receiver or the stamp receiver, and you have the riveted dust cover. So this is chambered in 7.62 by 39 millimeter. You have the M4A1. This is just the current modification that I had that I picked up in the run through for the tutorial. But M4A1, again, obviously this is a United States assault rifle chambered in 5.56 by 45 millimeter. We go back, start looking at the weapons I don't currently have. The Type 191. Now this is a new weapon here, added for launch of the game. This was not in the previous test, so this is the new Chinese assault rifle, okay? And you can see it's chambered in the, I think it's a 5.8 by 42 millimeter. So that is the Type 191, the brand new Chinese assault rifle. We also have the AS-Val. So the AS-Val is a Russian special purpose assault rifle, chambered in 9 by 39 subsonic rounds. So this is a really great weapon. You have a rate of fire here over 1,000 rounds per minute, or in the game here it's 972, but in real life it's around 1,000 rounds per minute in full auto. Again, 9 by 39 subsonic rounds, AS-Val. You have the CAR-15. You can make a nice Vickers tactical out of this. This is the predecessor to the M4A1, used famously by Delta Force in the Battle of Mogadishu. So again, chambered in 5.56 by 45 millimeter. You have the PTR-32. So this is, you can see the developer assault rifle developed from the G3 rifle. It's essentially a G3 chambered in 7.62 by 39 millimeters. So again, I believe this is also another HK gun. It is essentially a G3 just chambered in the 7.62 by 39 Russian cartridge, versus what we see with the actual G3 here, which is again another HK design. This is a battle rifle chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeters. So these are all the base weapons. Really nice weapon here. Again, you can see the rate of fire of 533, 20 round mag at base. But again, it is that 7.62 by 51 battle rifle, so your damage and everything is going to be increased. Now, same caliber here as the Scar Heavy or the Mark 17. This is a FN Herstal development, chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeter. This was part of the Scar program, Mark 17, and it's developed, or excuse me, adopted by U.S. SOCOM for the most part. So used by top tier or tier 1 operators mainly there. You have the AK-12 assault rifle. This is the newest iteration of the AK platform of weapons here, chambered in again 5.45 by 39 millimeters. So the AK-12, great weapon to see here in the game. This just was put into service, I think it was 2022, 2021. Officially, it was adopted 2019 though, but I think the first rifles started getting really rolled out in the early 2020s to 2022 there. Now we already covered the SIG 5.52. We have the M7 battle rifle, or what is the XM7. So they actually named it correctly. I thought it was named something different in the previous test, but again, this is part of the winner of the NGSW program from Sig Sauer, the M7, chambered in that new 6.8 by 51 millimeter cartridge. This still kind of qualifies as a battle rifle mostly, in my opinion, but 6.8 by 51, so it is a great cartridge here. And you may even be able to change cartridges. I think they initially said for ammo types, which it doesn't look like it yet. Maybe that'll be something they add in the future. So the M7 battle rifle, again, this is brand new replacement, or will be the replacement for the M4. adopted from the MGSW program for the U.S. military. So the M7 chambered in 6.8 by 51 millimeter. We have the AUG A3 here. So the AUG A3 again is another FN Herstal product, and or FN Herstal. It's Steyr. Excuse me, Steyr AUG. So it's a Steyr product out of Austria, chambered in 5.6 by 45 millimeter. The M16A4 here, you have single am burst. So again, this is U.S. military 5.6 by 45 millimeter. You have the K416, or as it's known as the HK416 here. This is a HK version, pretty much a variant, and Larry Vickers helped develop this version. Kind of a more improved version of the M4 is what it was designed to be. Shorter barrel, capable of more full auto. Think of it more as a modernized version of what was at the time an improvement on the CQBR. So again, chambered to 5.6 by 45 millimeter NATO. The Ash 12 is a Russian CQB battle rifle developed specifically for Spetsnaz and FSB. This is chambered in the powerful 7.62 by 55 millimeter. This is a 50 caliber CQB battle rifle. Capable of full auto here. It's 500 rounds per minute in game, but in real life, I think it's somewhere around 650 to 700 in real life. But this thing is beefy, a very, very large caliber on this weapon. This thing's going to be a beast at close quarters. We already covered the AKS-74U. You have the QBZ-95. So again, this is the later iteration before the Type 191 that we already reviewed here. Again, chambered in the 5.8 by 42 millimeter. We looked at the AKM and the M4. So those are all the rifles. Moving into the SMGs here. We have the PP19 Vitязь. So again, this is PP19 Vitязь is the, you may remember its predecessor, the Bison. So this is chambered in 9 by 19 millimeter. Parabellum in this case, so 9 by 19. This is again a Russian PDW or submachine gun. Next up, we have the MP7. So this is a new weapon again added here for the launch of the game. This was not in the technical test. MP7 is an HK design, chambered in 4.6 by 30 millimeter. You can see the rate of fire at 950 rounds per minute. You also have here the SR3M. So very similar to the AS Val. It's a later iteration kind of the AS Val without the integral suppressor. So again, it's still chambered in the 9 by 39 millimeter subsonic. And you can see the rate of fire here is 747. So it has a different rate of fire, but it takes the same magazine, same rounds. So you can obviously customize this with a bunch of different attachments. And there's the suppressor, the SR3M suppressor that you would put on there as well. So a lot of customizable options, which we'll cover in a different video. I just wanted to get through all the weapons, which there is a lot. The SMG-45, so this is essentially the Americanized version of the UMP-45 by the company LWRC. This is chambered in 45 ACP. So this is essentially, again, the Americanized version of what was the UMP-45 by the company, U.S. company LWRC. This was adopted for use. Well, not this specific version. LWRC did have another version adopted in 9x19. There is a 9x19 version of this in real life also. So here you only have the 45 version. They will most likely be adding a 9mm version down the road. Speaking of the PP19s, you have the PP19 Bison. We already covered the Vitязь, which this is the predecessor to that. Again, this is chambered in 9x19, or in some cases, I thought it was chambered in 9x18 Makarov, but I could be wrong. Probably 9x19, but it's just an ugly gun. You see this in every game. I've never been a fan of it with the Helix magazine, but it's a staple for pretty much every first-person shooter. So the PP19 Bison versus the Vitязь that we looked at. We have the classic Uzi in 9x19. You have a Vector submachine gun here. Now, this is another example of a weapon that has two versions in real life, the 45 ACP version and a 9mm version. So here you can only have a 45mm version. There is no 9mm version yet, but that may be something that comes down the road. So the Vector 45 here, chambered 45 ACP. Then you have the P90. Again, this is an FN PDW, chambered in the 5.7 by 28mm. So this was kind of during the time where 9x19 was deemed too weak to penetrate body armor, things like that. So they were looking for an intermediate caliber between a pistol caliber and a rifle caliber. And this and the MP7 are pretty much products of that program. This one you can see is chambered in the 5.7 by 28, whereas the MP7 is a smaller cartridge compared to this, but still, this is more considered closer to a rifle round as the P90. So good to see that in the game. You have the MP5. Everyone knows the MP5 HK chambered in 9x19. Those are all the submachine guns. Moving into shotguns, you have the M870 here. Classic shotgun there. You have the Saiga 12. This is semi-automatic. You can equip. This is a new weapon again here for the launch of the game. Equip some big boy magazines as well as a lot of different barrels and handguards here. You can see a lot of different options. So the Saiga 12 is a really nice addition to the game. You also have the M1014 here. Again, another great shotgun. We see this in pretty much every game that's a first-person shooter also. So nothing new here as far as shotguns that we haven't seen before, but the Saiga 12 is a new addition here for the launch of the game on PC. Now, LMGs. Speaking of new weapons for the launch of the game, this is a new LMG which wasn't a technical test that I tested out last week. This was not in the previous versions that you would have played over the summer. This is the M250. So this is the one, again, like the M7 that we looked at, the winner of the U.S. Army's NGSW program. This is the M250. Now, everyone might think this looks like the MG338 or the RAL, but this is the MG250 or the M250, which is chambered in the 6.8 by 51 millimeters, same as the M7 here in the game. So the winners of the NGSW program, they adopted the M250 to replace the SAW, again chambered in 6.8 by 51, and then you had the M7 chambered in the same caliber to replace the M4. There is another version of this, which I mentioned is the MG338 or the RAL, as you might remember it as. That is not in this game. However, there may be some sort of ammo conversion because aesthetically, they are the same gun. So this is a really great weapon. I really love this. Can't wait to use it. See fire rate of 550. So again, this is Sig Sauer NGSW winner, the M250. You also have the, speaking of what's going to be replaced, we'll see about that, the M249 SAW, the FM Mini-Me, been around forever. One of my favorite submachine guns just ever outside of the M60 probably. So again, this is an FN product, 5.6 by 45 millimeter. You have a lot of different options, customizable options here, magazines and belt fed. So the FM Mini-Me or the M249 SAW, a great weapon. You have a couple different barrel options here as well as different handguard options to make some pretty cool guns, which I think will, if you guys have been around the channel, you'll see where this is going as far as hidden weapons and conversions. So the M249 SAW. You also have the PKM, General Purpose Machine Gun. This is chambered in the very large 7.62 by 54 millimeter R. This is a Russian General Purpose Machine Gun. Again, probably the greatest machine gun ever developed right here, the PKM. You can make a couple different nice, pretty things out of this. They have a lot of really cool modernized attachments here. Also, which I won't spoil too much of it because I'll cover that in a separate video. But you have some nice Zenico stock options and things like that, which we'll get into. So the PKM, General Purpose Machine Gun, shipping in 7.62 by 54 millimeter R. Let me get back into that. I accidentally exited out. So we covered all the LMGs. The Marksman Rifles, another new addition here. The HK PSG-1. This is the designated marksman version of the G3, essentially. Chambered again in 7.62 by 51 millimeter. This is a new weapon added to the launch of the game. PSG-1 as a designated marksman rifle. And this is only available in single fire. So this is brand new here to the game at the launch here on December 4th or 5th, depending on your time zone. The Knights Armament SR-25. This is, again, only single fire. This is a U.S. company, Knights Armament Company, or CAC. This is chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeter, designated marksman rifle. One of my favorite marksman rifles for sure. So there's a lot of really cool, unique attachments for this weapon, which we'll get into. But the SR-25, again, chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeter. You have the SKS marksman rifle, chambered in 7.62 by 39. This is what was supposed to be the Russian main weapon after World War II, which was shortly replaced by the AK-47 and then the AKM, but still firing that 7.62 by 39 cartridge. Then you have the Mark 14 or the M14 here, chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeter. This has a full auto capability, so you'll notice everything else here was semi so far. The SR-25 in real life does have the ability to go full auto, but they didn't include it with that, probably for balancing purposes, maybe, I'm assuming, we'll have to see. But the Mark 14, you can go full auto with this, which is really, really great. And you can obviously make this look more modernized as well. This was supposed to be the main weapon for the U.S. military before it was replaced by the M16. Now, the SVD, I think this is also a new one. I don't remember off the top of my head. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but the SVD, again, chambered in that big Russian 7.62 by 54 millimeter R. This is a single fire only, but again, a really famous weapon. Everyone knows the SVD. Seen that in many games. And then you have the VSS Venturas, very similar to the SR3M and the VSS, or excuse me, the AS Val. So again, this is chambered in 9 by 39 millimeter. However, this version of it is also single and auto. So you have a rate of fire though 480 rounds per minute, which I'm not sure if that's counting full auto or semi-auto. Most likely probably full auto, so it's a slower rate of fire than the Val. In real life, they would be a 1-to-1 with the rate of fire and things like that. This is just the Marksman Rifle version of that, chambered in 9 by 39 subsonic. And again, that is a Russian weapon, obviously. Then you have the Mini 14. I really am not a fan of this gun, but it is a 5.6 by 45 millimeter weapon, and I believe it is only in single fire. So that's is the Marksman Rifles. Now moving to sniper rifles, you have the AWM sniper rifle, or the Arctic Warfare. This is chambered in 338 Lapua Magnum, so really nice weapon. This was in the previous tests, but it is a big boy sniper rifle, and it looks really, really pretty. You can add some really nice attachments to that as well. Speaking of, I covered it in my last video, but really quick, they did add a lot of new attachments, scopes, grips, a lot of things like that. You have some scopes with rangefinders now. So for snipers and other, you can put some of these on other weapons too. Going to be really, really cool, especially for sniper rifles. So rangefinders on there, really neat. Next up, we have the M700. Again, this is chambered at 7.62 by 51 millimeter. You can obviously have the wood furnish here for the weapon to start, but you can obviously modernize this through the attachments on the gunsmith. So going back, you have the R93. So this is, I believe this is, I could be wrong. I thought this was a Russian rifle, but it is chambered at 7.62 by 51 millimeter. And I thought it was, it could be a Remington rifle, but for whatever reason, I originally thought this was a Russian rifle. So I'm not too sure on this. A lot of these sniper rifles do look very similar nowadays, but correct me if I'm wrong down below. But you can see there's a lot of really cool attachments to these weapons that they've added. So this is chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeter. Really cool weapon. Looks great. And again, adding those rangefinders is going to be really cool on this. Then you have the SV98. So this one is definitely a Russian rifle, chambered at 7.62 by 54 millimeter R. SV98. You have the more modern. This is kind of the more modernized version of it too. We have the twist barrel. It doesn't have that ugly chassis that the other one had, although I'm sure you can probably build it based on what attachments and things like that you want to put on it. But the SV98, chambered at 7.62 by 54 millimeter R. Moving into pistols. So a new weapon here for this launch of the game is the M1911, chambered in 45 ACP. You can modernize that. Also, the Glock 18. Again, this is a Glock 18, 17 and 18s we've seen. So Glock 17 is this one. You have a 93R, or the Rafika here, which is a burst weapon from Beretta. You have another Glock here, the Glock 18C, which is in full auto at 1,172 rounds per minute. You have a Desert Eagle, chambered in 50 Action Express, the 357 revolver, and the QSZ92G, chambered in 9x19 Parabellum. So those are all of the weapons here at the launch of the game. Again, you have a lot of new guns here just from the last test. Those ones that I've covered those in my last video for Delta Force, but new ones are the Type 191, which is that Chinese assault rifle. Going through, I don't want to miss anything. I think that's it for the rifles. Then for the SMGs, you obviously had the MP7. That is a new one. For the shotguns, you have the Saga 12. LMGs, you have the M250. Marksman Rifles, you have the PSG-1 and maybe the SVD. I can't remember if the SVD is new, but the PSG definitely is. Sniper Rifles, I don't believe there's anything new here. I thought these were all in the game previously. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the pistols, you have the M1911. So a good amount of new guns just here at the launch of the game. Let me know your thoughts down below. Again, we'll get into gunsmithing later on. I did have some things pre-built here, but I don't want to give them away. But we'll get into gunsmithing, some kind of hidden weapons that you can make here. Let me know your thoughts down below, what your favorite weapon is. And again, you can test these out just by going into modify, gunsmith, modify. You can mess with your attachments and go right into the firing range like this without having to purchase them. And there you go. So that's how you get in the firing range. We'll cover some different weapon conversions. Let me know what kind of gameplay you guys want to see. I should be streaming this game tomorrow afternoon. Let me know your thoughts down below. All weapons for Delta Force launch on PC. Till next time, Buffner Gaming, out.